A couple of days ago, I asked my viewers to anonymously give me their craziest confessions, and today I'm going to be reading them while playing Minecraft. The world I'm doing this on is my forever world. For those of you who don't know, my forever world is basically a world that I'm going to be playing on forever, and that's all you really need to know about it. Today we're just going to be doing some basic stuff like mining, XP gathering. But the first confession. The confession title is Elementary Gym Teacher. Oh, brother, this cannot be good. Back in elementary 6th grade, I had transferred to a new school. So there were new teachers, new students, new classes, the whole thing. My new gym teacher, Mr. Arthur, I didn't like him at all. He was weird, creepy, and bald. But because I was new, my parents didn't see anything wrong and passed it off as new school anxiety. But I kept this grudge the entire year and made it my goal to mess up his lessons and class on purpose. And use the quote-unquote, oops, I'm new, I didn't know excuse every time. My mom was friends with his wife and their daughters. So I unfortunately saw him outside of school occasionally when I was with my mom and she was hanging out with his wife. And he was always saying weird stuff about his daughter, which sounded like compliments, but they didn't sound right. As a kid, I thought he was a massive creep because he kept hovering over the more quote-unquote popular girls and said weird things. So I made an anonymous report to the school about him and how he was acting towards the girls in gym class. See, I knew this was where this was going. He was pulled aside by the principal, and yes, I was eavesdropping on their conversation, but basically the principal told him about the report and they'd have to take it seriously by having him not be at the school for a week so the school board could clear it up. In response to that, after the school year ended, he packed up his family and left to Ohio, claiming his parents needed him closer to home. Turns out he was wanted by the FBI for child porn and had 2 terabytes of child. Okay, I have to censor something here. You guys know what he had the moment I said terabytes. So needless to say, I busted a child creep by being afraid of bald men. You can fact check me. Google Mark Arthur, Cincinnati teacher arrested. Wait, no, I have to Google this, chat. Hold on a minute. Oh my God. Seeking victim information and Mark Arthur investigation. The FBI Cincinnati field office is seeking to identify potential victims of Mark Arthur, who was recently charged with and arrested for possession and distribution of... Oh my God. This is insane. This is absolutely insane, brother. This is a forms.fbi.gov link, by the way. I would like you guys to know that. What? It's always a gym teacher, bro. It's always a gym teacher. Can you imagine knowing that you busted your gym teacher doing one of the most deplorable things on the planet? Like, that is a massive flex. But also, like, can you imagine your gym teacher is the most deplorable human on the planet? Now that you mention it, dude, I had a teacher in my middle school. We hated this fucking guy, by the way. We hated him. Now, this guy was a grade A piece of work. Like, absolutely despised this man. Everyone always despised this man, okay? He used to still beat kids once in a while. Like, it wasn't like a common occurrence, but it had happened a couple times, even though this stuff had been outlawed many, many years prior. Every time, and I swear to you, dude, every time any of the pretty girls would go up to the board to write something down, he basically would gawk at them and make audible reactions, like, and look at the boys in the classroom and be like, look at this piece of meat, you know? And I remember specifically, there was a couple of girls who, like, I'm not gonna say he had a thing for, I can't even explain it, but picture this old fat man that would just gawk at middle schoolers that, you know, were a little more developed than the other middle schoolers, let's say it that way. And it was foul, bro. I'm glad he retired finally. Apparently he's no longer there, but yeah, we don't know. That guy probably has a couple of terabytes as well. Luckily, I don't think he ever actually did anything to any of the female students in that regard. So, yeah. On that note, let's go to the next one. The Bay Harbor Pooper. Oh, God. Many years ago, when I was around 6 or 7 years old, it was a normal school day and I was sharing a room with my sister. She went to the bathroom to get ready and I really had to poop. She was taking too long, so that's when I made up my mind. I pulled my pants down, squatted, and let the poop just come out onto the carpet. And what did I do after? I blamed it on the dog and got away with it. A year later, when I had my own room, I did it again. Popped the squat and let the turd go. Yet it wasn't a normal turd. No. It was diarrhea. Got all in that carpet and my dad had such a great time cleaning it out. And I have never been caught to this day. Brother. Okay, so I need to comment on this. You pooped yourself, right? I kind of get the mindset, when your sister was in the bathroom trying to get ready. I'm assuming there's no other bathrooms in the house, right? I kind of get it. I kind of get why you felt the need to do this. However, let me ask you this. Why did there have to be a second time? How did you say a year later, I'm going to do this again? Like, you got your own room, right? Was the bathroom occupied as well? Was it the same case? Or did you just decide that you wanted to shit yourself on the floor? Did you take a page out of a third world country or something? I really need to understand your logic here. Please respond in the comment section, even though I know this is anonymous. I would love to know why you did it the second time. Let's go to the second one, shall we? The next title is I steal from my loved ones to fuel my drug addiction. Oh dear. Over the past few years, I have become hopelessly addicted to drugs. Specifically meth. Everyone in my life thinks I've been clean for a few years, when I really never stopped using. I've stolen the life my parents gave me, and deep down I know that I don't have the willpower to stop, no matter how much false hope I pretend to have. Okay, this sounds like a bit of a cry for help, so what I'm going to say here is, whatever your name is, I'm going to call you Josh. Josh, you need to tell someone. You need to tell someone immediately, okay? This is not a game. Being hopelessly addicted to meth, you have a major issue here, and you need to take care of it. If you don't want to tell your parents that you're feeling down and you need a therapist or just something. You need to utilize the resources that are available to you. And trust me, I know it's hard to tell your parents something like that, but at the same time, I think your parents would very much appreciate knowing that you have a problem than not knowing and you end up hurting yourself or worse, dead sometime down the line. Okay, please do yourself a favor and try to tell someone. Okay, try to tell someone. But best of luck to you. The next one is titled Conflict of Interest. Ooh. I have a crush on my boss. I've worked with him for 4-ish years now, and I always end up going back to liking him. We're both adults, but I don't think he likes me back. Plus, how would that even work? Just kind of sucks. Hope you have a lovely day, Nico. Thanks for doing this. Yeah, I mean, you are right in titling that a conflict of interest. Here's the thing. I'm a very firm believer of you don't shit where you eat. For example, in my case, I would never date another YouTuber, right? I would never date someone who could be my coworker because that relationship, in many cases, that professional relationship is way more important than the romantic one is, okay? And yes, you could, in theory, argue that a romantic relationship in the long run is more important than any professional one, but you only get one of those romantic relationships, and you get a lot of professional ones, and you can ruin a lot of professional relationships if you're not careful with what you're doing. Let's say, for the sake of the argument, that your boss also likes you, right? First of all, it's a power dynamic issue. Second of all, say you do date, it's all great, you guys are doing amazing. Maybe you're getting some of the benefits at work too. Maybe you're being promoted quicker because of the fact that he's your boss. But then think of this. What if you're going through a rough week? What if you break up? If you break up, now you have two issues. You have a boss who potentially doesn't like you or hates you even because something really bad happened and you guys broke up. Or you have someone that you just constantly have to be reminded of every time you go to work, even though you want to get over them. And then after that, say you get into a different relationship, then you have to be working in the same building as your ex. Okay, you have to be working in the same job, and never mind that, your ex is your boss. And if your boss is, say, I don't know, vindictive and doesn't like the fact that you guys broke up, then he might be giving you a hard time at work to try and keep you away from your new boyfriend. Like, there's so many possible ways this can go wrong, and only like two that this can go right, okay? I would strongly suggest, especially if he doesn't like you back, to let this shit go because it's not going to end well for you in most cases. Unless you don't really care about this job and quitting seems easy to you, then by all means, try and shoot your shot, and then if it doesn't work out, you can just quit. But in every other case, I wouldn't go for this. I don't think it's worth it. All right, the next one is titled, I'm low-key thankful my mom died? Oh my God, guys. It sounds terrible, I know. My mother was a very controlling and narcissistic person. She passed when I was 16, but my brothers were all well into adulthood. I was hardly ever allowed out of the house without her being around. Even though my siblings didn't live at home, she would find reasons to take all their extra money and even made a couple of them move back home. She would constantly start fights, all while trying to maintain that she is the victim even when she was being obnoxiously racist to her bosses. The last couple of years of her life, she really spiraled into a hateful and bigoted person. Sorry for making this long, I just wanted to provide enough context for the statement. You know what? This is one of those things, right? This is a very extreme title, but with context, it makes sense. Like, I'm sure if I had a parent that was like that, I would be very thankful they died as well. That is a very common occurrence, I feel, amongst a lot of people. Not everyone likes their parents, okay? A lot of people have very crappy parents. It's the reason why therapists always harp on childhood for people when psychological issues come up. Because problematic childhood, in 90% of cases, depends on having crappy parents. Yeah, I mean, I guess we should all be thankful that your mom died. I don't know, man. This is just one of those things. The next one is titled, I don't know what to say for this. Well, okay. When I was 7 years old, my friend had his summer party with water guns, sweets, etc. When I was going down the slide, the ice cream in my hand fell off the cone and went into his bush. Okay. I think everyone here probably misheard that a little bit. I believe he meant his a bush in his yard. He goes on to say that I was scared for 2 weeks that I was going to get arrested for littering. That has to be the funniest and most wholesome thing I've read all day. Dude, you know what's crazy about that age? Like, when you're young, you don't really know the consequences to certain things, especially if your parents punish you for things that make no sense, right? Like, staying on your computer for too long or on your phone for too long is, like, punishment worthy. So you can only imagine what your parents would do to you for littering, let alone the police, you know? But that is pretty funny. All right, the next title is Shit Happens, okay? Once at the gym when pulling a PR on the deadlift, 200 kg. Okay, 200 kg is a lot. For those of you who don't know, 200 kg is like, what, 400 pounds? I readied myself by putting my headphones on and blasting some music. I put on some extra chalk just to be sure, and when I pulled the bar up, it was so heavy that I had to pull with every muscle fiber in my being, and accidentally, 80% on the way up, shat myself. Oh my god. It was a late Friday night and nobody was there, and the cameras can't catch smells, so nobody was hurt in the accident. Bro, there's a lot of poop stories today. Okay. I don't know that many people had turd encounters, but I gotta say, pooping yourself is gotta be one of the most humbling experiences on the planet. It just reminds you that we're all people, we're all just animals with a better intellect, right? Same way that you poop, the billionaires poop, right? You all sit on a toilet and you just let one go. I hear it's pretty common amongst deadlifters in general, or people that do weights and stuff like that, super heavy ones, to have this happen to them. So I'm sure you're not the only one. All right, the next one is titled, I caused someone to die with manifestation? All right. I am not a witch, in parentheses, maybe a little, but I do a lot of manifestation and maybe little spells. Okay, this girl is doing voodoo on people. A few months ago at school, someone asked my friend if she could count her in her project, so she could leave school early to meet with her boyfriend without having an absent day. I got so mad because she is a very rude person and she did spread a rumor about me. So I was thinking about her and wondered what would happen if she got into an accident. That night she was hit by a truck when she was on a motorcycle. The boy who drove it died in the scene and she barely survived thanks to the helmet. So yeah, I still see her every day in school and now we are friends? Also, the boy who died isn't even her boyfriend, it was just a friend. Lol. LOL? What do you mean, lol? Dude, there's nothing funny about this. I guarantee you this girl did not deserve to be in a complete car accident. What? I see what you mean by manifested this. But also, what did she do to you that you wanted her to die so bad? I guess we've all thought of, like, what would happen right now if this very infuriating person in my life just decided to die? We've all thought it, and if you say you haven't, you're lying. I've definitely preyed on people's deaths before. Oh my goodness, there's this one kid I wanted him. I really wanted to see him die. I genuinely did. This one kid in, again, middle school. Middle school was as you guys can tell, middle school had a lot of defining moments for me, but there was this one kid who I hated. He was like just the peak asshole, and he also got all the girls. He even got the girl that I had a crush on, and he didn't even date her. He like had her for like a week. Oh my god, I hated this guy, and I still to this day think if I saw him, I would wish him death. To be honest with you, maybe not that much. Maybe for him to stub his toe aggressively to the point where he has to go to the hospital. But I can understand where you're coming from. That's it. It is crazy that this girl almost actually died. The title of this one is I Let Out a Gas Bomb and Blamed It on My Crush. Dude, here we go again. When I was in kindergarten, I ate some of the school mystery meat, so I was all gassy and nearly shit myself. The gas flew out of my ass when I tried clenching my cheeks together, so I blamed it on her and they somehow believed it. Wow, that is... So, you blamed your crush for farting? I would love to see how this crush developed. Did you ever get with this girl later in life? And then, if you did, what did she say about this? I'd love to know. This one is just titled Crazy Story, actually. So basically one day, I'm at school, regular day, doing classes, a test or two, didn't really remember it all too well. But what I do remember is that I randomly heard one of my classmates yell some bad words because he lost a game on his Chromebook. And he banged his hand pretty hard on the desk, pretty sure he nearly cracked it. The teacher stood up quickly and literally grabbed the kid and threw him out of his seat. He literally landed right beside me, and I could tell something wasn't right about him. So I got out of my seat quickly, because even though I don't know crap about this guy, it was just that kind of moment, you know? I was so locked into that moment. I just looked at him, and what I did see is that he was bleeding from the head. I don't want to get into details, because this might demonetize your video. No, okay, this guy, first of all, you're a goat for that, but please give me details, guys. Please give me details. I want to know everything. But in the end, he went to the hospital, the teacher did get fired, and apparently the teacher had been previously charged, so he got put in prison for a long time. We had a sub for the rest of the year, but thankfully, the head injured guy made a recovery. And he thanked me for quote-unquote saving him. I don't know how he knows because he was definitely knocked out. So I'm just assuming some of the other kids told him about me. It still kind of bothers me to this day. Every day I walked by that classroom, it just went straight back into my head. I mean, that does make sense. That must be a traumatic experience watching a full-grown adult throw a kid out of a chair to the point where he's bleeding from his head. That is crazy work. Like, no matter what he did. Like, what could that kid have possibly done to deserve that? You know what I mean? And screw that teacher, by the way. Next title is I Slept With My Friend's Boyfriend. Ooh, this is not gonna be good. I met this girl through a friend of a friend. One night, about 2 weeks into our friendship, she went to a party and met her now boyfriend. But she didn't know that me and him were exes. When she found out, she asked me if I was okay with her being with him, and I told her it was chill because we broke up like 4 years ago and the feelings are gone. Only thing is, he's my next door neighbor. Oh, here we go. And our families are pretty close. My friend starts asking to come over a lot. But every time she came, she would either invite him over, sometimes without asking, or leave me and go over to his house. After about 4 months of this, I started to realize that she only came over to my house to hang out with him. One night, we were all three on the lake with some other friends, and I kept catching him looking at me. I didn't think much of it until he put his arm around both me and my friend. 2 weeks later, we all three get invited to a 4th of July party. But my friend didn't show up, so it was just him and I, and we had a few drinks together. But we ended up staying the night at this party and sharing a bed. That is when it happened. I felt so guilty and like a terrible friend afterwards. I still don't think I have feelings for him, and I don't think he does either. When me and him were in a relationship, I was his first kiss, so I think it was just buried feelings that came out. I haven't talked to him since. I told her what happened, and now we're no longer friends. Apparently, they're still together, and she was more mad at me than at him. Am I in the wrong for this? Okay, considering you asked if you're in the wrong for this, I'm going to let you know I'm about to cook you. I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm not going to hold back. And if you can't handle this type of criticism, then click off now. Okay, there's so much to unpack here. First of all, why did you share a bed? Okay, how is this? Okay, let me stand. I got to stand up here. I got to stand up for a second. You said that this guy put his arm around you and your friend didn't get weirded out by that. I'm assuming it's the same friend that's dating him, unless it was somebody else. But past that, you both ended up at a party and shared a bed. He shared a bed with you, even though you were his ex, and his girl was okay with this? There's no shot. There's no shot that this happened and she knew and she was okay with this. So this is a massive red flag on the both of you there. So then the whole thing happens. You do the deed, whatever. You felt guilty and like a terrible friend afterwards. You should. You are guilty and are a terrible friend. Now the next thing, I still don't think I have feelings for him and I don't think he does either. This makes it infinitely worse. Okay, this isn't like you guys are getting back together. You guys were just a bunch of horny bastards. That's basically what happened, okay? And you did the thing. So be it, whatever feelings existed from a first relationship. This is stuff that happens, right? This is why you don't really stay friends with your ex. And even if you are friends with your ex, like, you have to make sure that there's a boundary, right? There has to be a very clear boundary because people end up getting hurt. Now, let's go to the next part. You told her, it's a good thing that you did tell her. I don't blame her for not being your friend anymore, but them being still together is crazy work. Like, I don't understand why she was more mad at him than you. She should be equally mad at both of you and never speak to either of you again. This is how this should have gone. But, you know, feelings and love and whatever the hell. Yeah, you are very much in the wrong for this. You're very much in the wrong for this because you entertained it, right? He was the one looking at you. You caught his eye, looking at you. He put his arm around you. You didn't stop it. You definitely had the choice to not sleep in that bed with him, okay? You definitely had so many choices here not to help him cheat on his girlfriend, and you had so many choices here to not hurt your friend, and you chose to hurt her. Like, this is a conscious choice, and I don't care what anyone says here, by the way. I've been cheated on before. This is a thing that has happened to me. There are so many steps that have to happen before you actually commit the act, like the physical act. There's flirting that has to happen. There's talking. There's this, there's that. There's considerations you have to ponder and think, oh, is this bad, or should I be doing this? Or maybe you don't think and you're just a piece of garbage, but there's so many steps before you get to the actual act, like the full physical act of cheating, that are cheating in and of themselves. Him sleeping in the same bed as you is an act of cheating. Him putting his arm around you in a romantic way, act of cheating, right? Might not be the most crazy part of it, but it is an act of cheating. The only difference there is that him putting his arm around you is something that's forgivable. Him having relations with you is not a forgivable act. The point is, yes, you are in the wrong. But hopefully you'll learn from this. Hopefully you will not do something like this again. Hopefully you will be conscious because, as you've seen, you've ruined a relationship and a friendship. That being said, thank you for sharing this, and thank you for being open to criticism. And that's about it. Thank you all so much for submitting these. They were so interesting to read. And you know what? I'm going to leave another Google form in the description below. I think I'm going to do another one of these. But other than that, thank you all so much for watching this video. And as always, good night and good luck, everybody.